Something you probably haven't seen in a while. Just at the end of this straight, we've got a corner. Not bad, eh? After that, we've got a hill. Don't see too many of them over on the Gulflander either. So if you guys have been on the Gulflander and you're coming on the Sav, you've never done this before, you're going to notice they are very different drain trips. We get a lot of people do the Gulflander like, oh god, I've got to do it again on the Savannahlander, but we are very, very different. We're not floodplain country. The Gulflander is flat and straight. We come out of Forsayth and we start climbing the western face of the Great Dividing Range. And that is what this entire trip is about. Not just climbing the Great Dividing Range, but over the rest of today and over all of tomorrow, we'll be going up and down a whole bunch of ranges and all this undulating ground that helps make up the Great Dividing Range, right up until tomorrow afternoon when we descend down the eastern face of the range and into Cairns. So very, very different from the Gulflander. Lots of bends, lots of corners, lots of ups and downs, and a lot of varying scenery. Today's agenda goes. So we're out of Forsayth, we're going to get across to our morning tea stop. We've got to have a morning tea between here and lunchtime. Now, those of you who are on the Gulflander, one of you just made the comments. You reckon they did a pretty good morning tea, eh? Yes. The only reason Hamish and I exist is to be better than the Gulflander. Did you realise how their drivers are pretty new? That's all we do, we just live to be better than the Gulflander. So look, we have to give you a morning tea that is better. We try our best. So, we got to give you better coffee for starters. What kind of coffee did they give you on the Gulflander? So we've got plunger coffee, good brown coffee, made in plungers. Not only that, but locally grown and roasted. We are supporting Australians. We are keeping the money in the country by doing it. So we've got beautiful, fantastic Domingo coffee ready to go. We've also got locally grown tea. Narada tea grows up in the tea. Tea bag rubbish. Make a full pot of tea ready to go. But you know, maybe you don't like coffee or you don't like tea. We got Milo. You want a Milo? Get stuck into a Milo. No. If you don't want Milo because you're not a bloody child, we got Bonox. Not a joke. You want a Bonox? We didn't have a single Bonox taker yesterday, did we? No, not a single one. Disappointing. Get stuck into a Bonox. There is nothing wrong with a hot cup of beef extract first thing in the morning. Put hairs on your chest. So you got a choice of four there. We've also got a whole bunch of Arnott's biscuits, we've got a bunch of fruit cakes that we've currently got in the fridge, we're making them cold. And you get a souvenir Savannahlander cup. Now, I know you got one on the Gulflander, didn't you?
Yep.
But was it one of those tin enamel things?
Yep.
Yeah, rubbish, isn't it? Rubbish. You get a chip in it, and it starts to rust. Next thing there's a hole in it. You can't use it for anything now. It goes out to the chook shed. You just use it to get grain out to the chickens. Ours, double insulated stainless steel. Not only that, but our logo, it's not printed on like the Gulflander's one, because if you give that a good aggressive scrub, that'll just come off. Ours is laser etched, never coming off. So we'll do that a bit later on at what we call Cafe Bloodwood. It's right on top of the range. It's about 2,500 feet above sea level, surrounded by some beautiful narrow-leaf ironbark trees. Gorgeous little setting. After that, back in the train, we continue to make our way down into Ainsley, and we will pull up at Ainsley for lunch. Our lunch is all provided. Send you over to the pub. They've got beer, they've got cold drinks. The lunch that they've got ready for you there, they'll have wraps, so either chicken and salad wraps, ham and salad wraps. Salad wraps if you don't eat meat. If you do have a special dietary requirement, just talk to the staff at the bar. After lunch, we get out Ainsley. Hamish will start driving the train at that point. He'll get you across to Mount Surprise at about 2 o'clock before you guys then head off for an afternoon of latitude tours and bits and pieces like that. So not an overly long day today, it's a pretty short one. Tomorrow's much longer. But yeah, we should be all done and dusted with the train by about 2. Those of you who have just joined us, this is a 4-day trip. We spent the last 2 days coming out from Cairns, and over 2 days we have spoken about all sorts of bits and pieces regarding the train, history of the line, all those sorts of things. We've still got lots of stuff to talk about, but for those who have just joined us, there may be some topics that we have already spoken about. Ask me and Hamish, we'll do our best to help you out. If one of us can't answer your question, we'll probably just point you in a direction to the other one. The chances are that he can. Now the only other thing I've got to tell you is that blue rope that was up here, we've taken that down. The chair that Hamish is now vacating, the one directly next to me on the left, and the chair directly behind me. These chairs are shared chairs. They're 5-minute chairs. Everyone can come up, have a turn, ask some questions and take photos, whatever you want to do. And after 5 minutes, nick off back to your own chair and let someone else come up and have a go. Now you're not limited to one go for the trip. Like, come back as many times as you want. We just want to make sure that it is regularly being changed up so everyone gets to have a chance. Leaving Forsayth, we're moving throughout Uruman country, and we'll be moving through Uruman country for all of today and a bit of tomorrow morning as well. Now the Uruman people, their boundary on the eastern side is the Lind River that we'll cross over tomorrow morning, but their country comes all the way through Mount Surprise, through Ainsley, through Forsayth, out the back of Forsayth to what do you call Cobbold Gorge Village National Park, and across to Georgetown. So they've got a pretty big chunk of land out here. At the moment we're crossing over Jenkin Highlands Creek cattle station. Very shortly, we will start climbing the Newcastle Range a lot more dramatically. Now the Newcastle Range, that name was given to it by a bloke, Richard Daintree, who was an early geologist and explorer out here. He was the first white fellow to come across it. He named it Newcastle Range after the Duke of Newcastle, who was a colonial secretary at the time. The Urban people, they had names for it as well. Not so much for the entire range as such, but for specific parts of it. We'll go through a couple of those parts today and talk about them when we get there. But we're just about to start climbing it fairly dramatically. We've got lots of tight corners, so you're going to hear a lot of wheel squeal as we head up the ranges. The flanges will rub on the tight curves of the rails, so lots of squealing. It's a little bit difficult to compete with that, so I'm going to shut up. If you've got any questions, come on up. But once things start to flatten out a bit more as we approach the top, I'll get back on the microphone. Chance. Get the free ball down to that. I've got a bottle of water in the door, in a soda water bottle. Yeah, that's it. No, in the fridge. The black one, yeah. Soda water bottle in the fridge. It's in the door. I suppose I can do that. Please? Said please. Well, you're learning now. Well, now I say do it. That's encouraging. No, you get stuff.
Thank you. Will?
Where are you from?
Brisbane.
You are driving too close to the car.
I went there once. 2004. There are lots of buildings.
Where are you living now?
Cairns. But yeah, it was huge. I'd never kind of been to a place like Brisbane before. It was, I got lost, ended up in the wrong side of town, took a wrong train, and I was freaking out.
I'm originally Sydney born and bred.
That'd be even worse, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't live back in Sydney again. No way.
I should tell you too, that river down on the right hand side, that's the Delaney River. So just rain fed, it's dry this time of year. Might be a couple of spots that have a little bit of water in it. But that flows down into Forsayth and then flows out into the Etheridge. originally when this track was put down, it was 100% timber sleepers, whereas your Gulflanders all steel.
That's great. Yeah.
We've got 50% steel sleepers now just to help hold the gauge together because the timber starts to warp a bit.
Yep.
But they're not making any effort to replace the timber sleepers all steel or anything. It's just 50% each.
Okay.
Timber's a really good shock absorber. So you might have noticed on the Gulflanders a lot rougher than what we are.
Absolutely.
Part of that is 100% steel sleepers. Just no good at absorbing the shock. And they had a lot more money when they were doing the Gulflander line. Like it was
Gold money.
Yeah, this line was built on a budget when they were kind of struggling. Did they say what poundage the rail is over there?
No, they didn't.
See, most of ours is 41 1/4 pounds. It's like metal spaghetti line in front of us, you know.
Thank you for that.
No drama. Just chance. I needed a job and I got a knock on the door and was told I had an interview, so pretty happy with that. Yeah. Oh, I live in Cairns, but yeah. floor to the right. There it is. It's just on the left-hand side of the second tree. Yeah, that's brilliant to have that. The wedge-tail eagle to the Burundy people is Corinjella. said, mate, that is absolutely amazing. Do you have any other information to support that picture? And I said, mate, I've got everything. Gave me GPS, the lot. What that meant was that a whole bunch of federal funding was available to the local Gulf Savannah Resource Management Authority to put together a team of ecologists to come through this area and do a koala survey. I didn't have access to that funding beforehand because no one had ever taken a photo of a koala. But now they had the evidence and they were able to do it. The survey, the idea of it is to answer a whole bunch of questions like, what is the population doing? Is it decreasing? Is it increasing? Is it stable? What's the male to female ratio? What species are they eating? And probably most importantly, what's the health of the population and the individuals in it? Because one of the biggest issues with the future of koalas is their compromised genetics. Habitat destruction and urban development leads to populations becoming fragmented and isolated. They can't mix with their genetics like they could once upon a time. If a male koala wants to go over there and breed with those girls, he's got to come down from the trees, try and make his way through backyards, get killed by a dog, and then never get there. So koalas aren't doing it anymore. Instead, they're staying in their little pockets. Dad's breeding with his daughters, mum's breeding with her sons. Their genetics are compromised, immune system's compromised, and they become susceptible to retroviruses, cancers, STDs. So the future's not looking great. If we've got a good stable population of koalas in an area like this, obviously they're not being affected by urban development. Chances are their population should be quite healthy, which means that we've almost got some insurance. We're trying our best to look after those koalas down on the coast, but if for whatever reason we lose them, if we can't do it, not all hope is lost. With insurance populations like this, there's still a future for koalas.
They're breeding them in England. It's a place called wallabies.
You're breeding them in England?
Yes.
Yeah, they breed very, very easily in captivity. The only problem in England is you don't have the best climate to grow eucalyptus leaves. So you guys build massive greenhouses to put your eucalyptus plantation in to try and get the best out of it. It's a very costly project.
Well then, the long plate is called.
So, since then, Hamish and I have now seen, well, altogether about 6. We keep our eyes peeled. Every time we come through this area, we've seen more and more and more. It's been really interesting not to see any for 10 years, and now over the last 2 years, we've seen 6. We'd like to see 7, we'd like to see 8, 9, 10. So every afternoon, every morning when we come over, we try and get you guys to keep your eyes open. Look up at the trees. If you see one, give us a yell. We'll pull up and we'll go and have a look at it. And if you see one, and if we do pull up and we do go back and there's a legitimate koala there, Hamish is going to be so excited that tonight he will turn up to your room with a fresh towel, a bottle of canola oil, and the strongest set of hands you've ever experienced. He'll give you a full body massage. Who knows what it might lead to. Oof. But if you yell out koala, we go back and it's not. You've just bought everyone on the train a beer in the pub at lunchtime. How you going?
I'm fine too, Will. Thanks for asking.
I don't care how you are.
I know. That's why we've got issues.
When was it that you saw the koala?
We've seen them at several locations along the way, but when we get to our morning tea spot, we saw two of them in that kind of immediate area. So when we pull up at morning tea, definitely worthwhile having a bit of a look at the trees there. The other ones were all on the other side of our morning tea spot. It's a good question. I can't tell you off the top of my head. I do have it in a book there in the back. I just can't remember the name. It's not. It doesn't grow any bigger than that. It's just a small shrub. It's these really cool little like blue coloured. Not a berry, but it's like a fuzzy seed on it. But it's nothing that I know of that's terribly significant or anything like that. Just a little native. Whereabouts are you from? Oh, yeah. I'm assuming, I know nothing about Newcastle, but I'm assuming it's named after the same guy that this range is named after.
It's named after Newcastle, UK, because of the similarity with the coal mines.
Oh, right, okay.
About the koalas, we have a koala hospital in Port Stevens, just up the road.
Yep.
And they're successfully breeding koalas there as well. And also Cobbold Gorge is another one.
Yeah.
Further up the coast.
Yeah, breeding them in captivity is no dramas at all. Like, they breed like bloody rabbits.
Well, they've been...
It's the habitat that we don't have to release them into. It's...
One of Cobbold Gorge, I don't know who, someone has, it might have been the state government, has given them a large expanse of land. And they have a successful weekly wildlife set up.
Yeah.
Of course, they mostly care for koalas that are hit by cars or hurt by dogs or whatever. When we had the fires a couple of years back, that was terrible. They lost a lot of koalas.
So that road out on the left, that's the line to lead to Forsayth Road. We'll veer away from that now. We're on the home stretch to the highest point of the Newcastle range, which is also the highest point of the entire Savannahlander journey. Just under 2,500 feet above sea level. So morning tea spot is just up ahead. We've got a few cleared paddocks out on the left-hand side here. It's all part of Saira station. These paddocks are totally there to grow grass. It's not irrigated or fertilised or anything like that. Nature does it. Gets watered when it rains, gets fertilised and animals poo. Once a year they slash it, bale it up and sell it off to who wants it. Do get to the morning tea spot, Hamish and I will open up the doors on the right hand side. You'll be able to exit from them. It's going to take Hamish and I a few minutes to get everything together. So have a walk around, take some photos, have a bit of an explore. Once it's ready, we'll yell out. We'll let you know how to line up. We'll sort out for the cuppa. Cake and some bickies and try and get 69 people some morning tea as quick as we can.
bred a few now, but if you look at Longleats, and it's called Animal Park.
Okay.
So,
What is it? Private or government owned? Or?
no, it's this lord and lady
Okay.
royalty that own this park.
Yeah.
And it's all like a safari where they're all open, the lions and everything. It's not a zoo, it's an open park.
Yeah, right.
Free, you know, it's brilliant to drive through.
Yeah.
Worst thing's the monkeys, they pull your aerial off and also pull your rubber off your windows. Yeah. So it's a safari.
Okay.
Longleat, if you look at
Longleats.
it up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. There you are.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. Righto, so we've got to a morning tea spot. Yeah, some of you are probably from the big city where you got your, I don't know, you got your mid cafes and your Zarafas and your coffee clubs. Have a look at this, eh? Cafe Bloodwood. We've even got taps. Righto, we'll open up the doors on the right, the good fold out steps, the ones in the rear of this front unit, they'll be there to use.